I wonder if I'll like come up first like I did in the last recording.
Okay. Oh, and we are here. So welcome back everyone to the Nelson. James, you went black and white there for a few seconds for me, but I
Again,
think
it's not good.
you're all right now. Thanks again for everyone who tuned into the first episode, and I was really grateful to see some of the comments we got and some messages we got from other fans. Yeah, really, really good. So today we are going to be reacting, I think, to that win against Sheffield Wednesday. I'm here with Jim Mac 247. I've got a username right this time.
You did
And
indeed.
team extraordinaire, Fark Rave, Totally Tetty is here in the house.
Good
And
evening, everyone.
so, yeah, before we start, obviously, if you can, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow, and I really appreciate it. If you have any feedback or comments to get the discussion going, please do it. But, boys, I will start off with asking you. I'll go with you, Jack, first. Did you expect that win over the weekend?
Um, well, obviously, after watching the first half, I don't, we were poor,
Yeah,
and I was obviously admittedly very worried that we could turn around. But as always, whenever we've fallen behind, we find a way, and we did, and that's great. Carry on the win streak. It was a typical game. We could have slipped up. We all said it. Along come Norwich. Norwich 6 wins in a row. Sheffield Wednesday 7 wins in a row for us, and Sheffield Wednesday 6 losses in a row. I'm glad to get the win, and 8 in a row now.
yeah, James, I'll flip it to you now. So, when Rhodes got that first goal in, so if we go back to how the game started, it's the foul from Gibson. The free kick was conceded. It was a poor free kick from Bannon, but off a bit of luck, it goes to Jordan Rhodes. He tucks it away. It's a pretty standard goal for him. But after that, I'm feeling a bit negative. But I was obviously watching. I was watching the game with my dad, and he had nothing to worry about, and I probably should have listened to him. How were you after that first goal went in?
For the entirety of the first half, like you said, for you, I was feeling quite negative as well.
Mm,
Um, I, I think I think it's like it's always upsetting when it comes when a goal is scored by an ex-player of us that a lot of our fan base, loves dearly after when, of course,
yeah,
Jordan Rhodes when he won the league with us a couple of seasons ago. But I think the most disheartening thing about that goal going in was the fact that not by who scored it, but the fact that, of course, like Jack said, along came Norwich, and that was a
yeah,
typical case of this is going
yeah,
to this was
yeah.
the
And
way when that went in. Now it's
it
going to
just was
possibly be
not the
Liverpool
ideal
finish.
way to start the game, was it? So we knew that Sheffield Wednesday had been struggling before, and I felt like what we did want to do was do something silly early on. We wanted to do our thing, keep it calm, nice and patient. In the first half, we didn't look that good, and I won't single out any attacking players, but I feel like we were having our patient play, but nothing. We were then doing little fancy flicks. Nothing was really falling to anyone, and we weren't really, in my opinion, creating nowhere near enough in the first half. It was a poor first half considering it was probably the poorest first half with our full strength squad. I know there were games in the past where we'd performed poorly against Luton away, poor against Coventry at home, but those were games where we had a reduced squad. But that first half wasn't great, but in the second half, I mean, let's just talk about that poor left corner. It was thrashed by two brilliant goals. I mean, do you think that Cantwell goal is goal of the season?
It's got to be, yeah. I mean, the way it came in off the bar, and obviously you got to give credit to Buendia for winning that ball back. That shows how great his work rate's been all season, and
Oh yeah,
and obviously Cantwell weak foot, brilliant enough as it is, but yeah, got to be
yeah,
up there goal season.
yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, James. Were you thinking that both Buendia and Cantwell were not having their best games in a Norwich shirt until, I mean, that second half everyone did improve, but that second goal just showed even if our top players aren't performing to their best abilities, they've still got something like that in them.
Yeah, I think you can say the same, not just this game, but I think throughout the entire season. I was saying to my dad when we were watching the game that um, even when the whole side are playing, having a poor game this season, we go 1-0 down or whatnot, whatever. Well, every single game, this game in particular, we always seem to come back from behind and grab all the points.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
Whenever, like you say, when we're not having the best of games.
yeah.
So
But
the fact that even when we're playing poorly, I think shows the fact that that's the reason as to why we are where we are.
Yeah, and
So
it was a real match of two halves, and there have been games like that this season where we started off poorly. I think earlier on, but our quality just came through. It was that cliche: two halves of football, one completely different to the other. Jack, I saw a tweet from you on that day about the reminder of Wigan away, and I have to admit, at first I was thinking quite similar. What made you think of that?
Well, I mean, it's getting to the crunch end of the season, and lunchtime, 12 o'clock kickoff, away from home. Obviously, the difference is we had no fans there. We're all thinking hopeful, and obviously go goal down. Our heads turn a little bit, start getting a bit nervous, But there was some massive shades of that. But obviously, we went one better because obviously we got the draw against Wigan last time out, but this time we obviously won, which I'm glad anyways. But yeah, definitely had Wigan away shades.
Yeah, in the first half, yeah, and I remember that Wigan game. It was really, I just remember watching that feeling really, really stressed out. I mean, Reece James, he's obviously gone on to become a fantastic player for Chelsea. He was Wigan's main man. You seemed to be able. Didn't matter if he was playing at the heart of defence, right back, or even in midfield. He was everything defensive and attacking was coming from that 18-year-old man, and he was really he was so confident against us. And when they took the lead, we didn't look like we were. But I wasn't that confident we were going to get back into it. I think it was a good finish from Pookie. It was fantastic. He did something great with his positioning. I remember it was fantastic, just a typical Pookie finish and a movement. And then Leon Clark, I think it was, heads it in, and I'm worried. Oh no, but it was given offside. But yeah, it was thankfully we got a point from that game, and thankfully the Sheffield Wednesday game that's just been wasn't like the Wigan away game, because that was a stressful end to that 18-19 season. If we can get it done a bit simpler this time, that'll be great. But overall, next game, are we making any changes? I mean, what did we think of, for example, a starting lineup that was used in that game?
I people might disagree with me with this, but I think Rock is better not as a cam, but alongside Skip. I think.
Yeah.
So that's the one change I think I would possibly make, is maybe not have him in that position.
I think what we're seeing is we've got Buendia and Cantwell. I'd call them both attacking midfielders, but they're both very effective, in those wide positions. And the number 10 role, when Steepman isn't there, and who has previously proven he can be effective there, we've got players like McLean, Vrancic, and Rupp, all may be better as the deeper central midfielder. If we go up to the Prem, is that it brings me on to the next point. Actually, we do have someone who did get some minutes on Sunday, Kieran Dowell. I think there was we were chatting before this podcast. We started recording. There were some different opinions on him. What are your thoughts on Kieran Dowell? Because I actually thought, other than the fact he took a not very good free kick, which apart from Vrancic, it seemed to be quite an occurrence with us, I thought Dowell had a good game. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, apart from the free kick, he was, we'll ignore that. That was probably his best performance for us. Obviously, he's not had much opportunities with being out injured and limited minutes coming off the bench. But I do think, if we're going to make a change to the side from Sunday for Wednesday, I think Dow should come in for Rupp, and I'd like to see him obviously give an actual proper go. And obviously, it's not he's starting against Watford, but that's back in Boxing Day, but. It'd be nice to see him kick on, and hopefully, if he performs well, he can stay in the team. And obviously, echoing back to Stephen, when he came back in against Bristol City, we did miss that. Obviously, gave us 18-19 season vibes, but obviously, it's a bit too early for Stephen. I'm pretty certain he didn't play in the under 23s game today, so he could be in the match day squad. But I think it's a bit too early for him to come back.
Okay, yeah, good point. And James, your point on Dowell. What were you thinking with Dowell on Sunday?
I don't know. Maybe this is because, once again, maybe because he's coming off the bench all the time, but I just didn't feel like there was enough there from him, to be honest.
Okay.
There was just something that the free kick. Except the free kick, I'll ignore that, because, of course, as mentioned, only Vrancic is the only player that can actually properly take a set piece. But I think it's his response to the free kick as well, where he just tried it again and just smashed it and absolutely wasted it again. It was that sort of decision, that didn't really impress me that much. But there was also, besides that, there wasn't enough quality really. I don't think.
Okay, so what I'm getting from you, Carrie, sorry, you continue.
But well, I mean, once again, it was Buendia. I think that to a degree kind of teed up. Cantwell. I don't remember who I don't specifically remember who teed up Pookie for his equalising goal, but at the same time, I do kind of feel as though I do feel as though Dowell could potentially do with the start, just because. Just from the point of view, as I said, he's not getting enough game time off the bench, and it'd actually be interesting to see what impact he would do. If he starts, because with the exception of Sunday's game against Wednesday, 9 times out of 10 when he comes off the bench, the game's already in the bag. So I feel as though it would be interesting to see him start rather than having to come on, off the bench.
So what I'm getting from you is that you kind of want to see a bit more from him, but you're open to maybe seeing him in, which I'm with. I was really excited by him. I think we've spoken a bit about this already about Dowell. I was excited about him in. He just needs a bit more of that game time to show what he can do. But I was impressed by some promising signs, I think, on Sunday. And if we're looking, and we'll just quickly comment on because we were playing them, Sheffield Wednesday, Jack, how did you think they looked?
It's a difficult one. Obviously, with beforehand 6 losses in a row, the team, they're not. It's a weird one because on paper there's some quality players in their side. They've still got Bannon, they've obviously got Jordan Rhodes and Kieran Westwood coming back in the side, and obviously we all know he does perform well against us. But I don't know. Obviously, you've not really seen much of them to probably comment why they're like this. But it's just it's a classic case of big names, but they're just underperforming. And
I mean, I look at that squad and I think a few years ago that would have been a very, very good championship team, and it is the case. Quite a few of those players have been in playoff positions with Sheffield Wednesday before, and or in and around there. Obviously some of them have aged. They haven't really improved. It looks like they're slightly getting worse. I still feel like that squad is not bottom 3 quality. I look and I think Luton, they have a worse squad, but they're playing better football. I think Coventry are playing better football and they have a worse squad. Obviously, I don't think Sheffield Wednesday have a better bottom 3 squad, but there's something wrong with them. There's a mentality thing there, and I was really happy that we were able to beat them because I was seeing it with. I couldn't see them scoring again, and I was maybe thinking along the lines of, as you'd said, Jack, the Wigan away. I was thinking, maybe we'll get one and they'll just completely park the bus. But as the second half went on, I was thinking, okay, I'm seeing it now. We're starting to get in these promising positions. So overall, I was happy with how the Sheffield Wednesday game went. I'm sure it was 3 points, and it makes it, I think, 10 points clear again. No teams give us any favours. I mean, I don't know what the Cardiff keeper was doing in the Watford game, not helping us out at all. But that was
not particularly, no.
But we can make it, and I think we can make it 9 wins in a row against Forest, can't we? So that, and wrap it up. If we can wrap it up as soon as we can, I know there's still a chance we can break the Reading record as well. I mean,
only just, I think, because if we win every single game left of the season, we're on 109. So
so we have to go on some crazy run, which at the moment when we're getting caught up in it all, it looks like we can do it. But if we can just get there, I mean, at the moment, I think the computers, I know the game isn't played on computers, it's saying over 100 points. I mean, we'd all take that, wouldn't we? And
oh yeah, absolutely.
So if we move on now to Wednesday, it's a reunion with a familiar face in the managerial dugout, Chris Hughton. I mean, we might as well sort of, just since it's Norwich related, this episode. What did you make? We'll start with you, James, this time. Chris Hughton, his football at Norwich. What did you think of it?
I mean, I can't. Everybody is probably on the same page here when I say the actual the way that he set us up in the Premier League was absolutely abysmal. But for this season, he got the job done, and effectively speaking, in the second season, the recruitment was poor. But I mean, I suppose to a degree, the most important factor was the fact that he did keep us up for at least a season. But as I said, the second season was just not good enough. They didn't really strengthen really. I always like to think from my point of view, or I suppose my experience when it comes to stuff like Football Manager. I know Football Manager is not like real life management, but I always like to think that the first season is always the most important one, and then the second season should really properly build. I don't think in the second season at Carrow Road, I don't think we built up that well enough.
Yeah.
And we just didn't really strengthen the right areas. Of course, Van Wolfswinkel is a key name to mention that season.
Yeah, it's
the
an unfortunate
season. I spent
memories.
£8 million on him, and he scored once in 20.
I don't think he had the team to play his football when it wasn't the football that we really wanted to see at Norwich. We'd just had Paul Lambert, where we had to grind out results under Lambert before, but overall we had some great, fantastic football. We had a team that we'd built, and all of a sudden Chris wanted to do this whole different thing and was bringing in these new players. Not all of them worked, but he then went. Of course, I'm not saying he's an effective manager on his day. I think it's obviously a lot of it is it's set up not to lose the game. We showed that a lot. He showed that a lot at Brighton, and he arguably had a striker in Glenn Murray who was a lot more suited to his system. Who I believe he's at Forest on loan now, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, we could be seeing the effectiveness of Glenn Murray against us. We don't know. Jack, Chris Hughton. I'm guessing it's kind of similar to James.
Yeah, definitely. It was a strange time, obviously, when he came in, because obviously, after such a fantastic run with Lambert, with him going to Villa, it'd be, he comes in the side, you're not sure how things are going to go. Obviously, we're used to as a club, as a club that's attacking football, and obviously going to defense, more defensive. It was a bit of a strange time, and obviously he started the season very slow, and then we finally got the first one against Arsenal, and ended up going a 10-match unbeaten run, which was, fair play, brilliant. But then obviously we went, and I was pretty certain we went 2 months without a win. Obviously we got there in the end of that first season, and it had some memorable wins against Arsenal, Man United, Man City, and the second season, the less said about it, the better.
Yeah, I remember that era, and it was genuinely. It sounds really bad. I love Norwich City, but I was genuinely getting bored of watching the games, and I think it was the 13-14 season, wasn't it?
Mm.
I was just getting bored of Norwich, and it's awful to say that, but I was like, when is it going to change? I wasn't expecting anything out of us. We were just nothing was there, and we'd had all these exciting players. The signings, as James said, were not working. We needed a change, but fair play. We won't spend all the time talking about Chris Hughton. We will preview Forest, of course, who are their own sort of funny story. I mean, I think it was 2017. The new owners came in. I think it was the new Greek era at Forest, and their Warburton was there when the owners came in. I think he then got the sack later on. It became Karanka, Lamucci, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Chris Hughton now. And what I can say, all Forest had to do last season, we weren't keeping up with the championship. I wasn't keeping up with the championship as much because obviously we were in the Prem, but I had a little bit of an eye at it. Forest were 97% of the season looking like they were going to get up in the playoffs. All they had to do near the end of the season was just not completely mess up, and they did exactly that. I mean, what do you think about, not as we're outsiders, what do you think about that?
Go on, James.
They didn't have Houston last season, did they?
No, they
didn't know.
And it was looking like he was doing really well. They were getting some good results. And near the end of the season, I think it was about, wasn't it 6 games before the end of the season, he got a new contract. And then all of a sudden they went completely, they just felt they were 5th on the final day of the season. So they were just hanging in there. And then final day of the season, they implode. They fall out of the top 6.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just was it 4-1 they lost to Stoke, and obviously Swansea won 4-1 out Reading. You couldn't write it really, but at the end of the day, that's probably the worst collapse on the final day you'd ever see.
And genuinely, and what I don't think works. I did a little bit of research. They're not a team I always look at, so I want to do a little bit of research. I looked at the squad they had last season, and then this season they made a ridiculous amount. I think they brought in about 12 new players. And the transfers, like you were seeing from them, it was just the amount that were coming in. You normally see overhauls for clubs like in 17th, a struggling 17th place championship team, which Forest weren't then. But now you look at, I think present day they are 17th at the moment. So it's almost like nothing has worked. They obviously got rid of Lamucci. They've brought Houghton in now, but they're another one of them clubs, aren't they? I mean, obviously a great historic club, really. Some fantastic seasons in the past, but a bit like maybe Sheffield Wednesday or Birmingham. The managers just keep coming and coming and coming. They have a new squad overhaul. It doesn't work. What do you think there is light for Forest in the future? Do you think this season's a bit of a write-off for them and they can push again with Houghton at the helm next season?
I do think they need to write this season off, really. Simply because I feel as though Houghton at championship level is a very good manager. And that was heavily proven by the fact that, first of all, he took, well, I believe he was the manager that took Newcastle up 11, 12 seasons ago now, so back up to the Premier League. And of course, not only that, but when he was also at Brighton for a few seasons in the Championship. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe when he joined Brighton, they were like at the bottom end of the table or so.
They were, yeah.
Yeah, and then after a couple of seasons or so, he built that team up, and of course, ended up after a couple of seasons or so, ended up being second, or finishing second on the last day.
Yeah.
Going to the Premier League, and of course he kept them up for like 1 or 2 seasons before he, of course, then got sacked.
Yeah.
So I believe they need to give him at least a couple of seasons to properly build at Forest and get his system properly in the roots there for at least this season or next season as well, maybe, and then they can properly, push forward, So this season for me should be a bit of a write-off for them.
Yeah, so we've spoken a bit about sort of the last few years for Forest and a bit for Houghton. So we're now going to more the actual game. I think we've just been sort of looking at what's coming up. Who are you worried about on that Forest team? I think for me, it's Anthony Knockaert, very, very decent Championship player. Obviously, Glenn Murray can be effective on his day. Jack, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'll echo that. I mean, typical ex-Norwich player, you'd worry about him scoring, but Lewis Graham has just come back from an injury, and he came off the bench in the previous game. Doubt he'd start, you never know, but obviously if not, then they'll put on Glenn Murray, and obviously, again, with the way how you've echoed before with Houghton linking up very well with Glenn Murray, he could be a bit of a threat, even though he's only scored about 2 goals in 10 games. I mean, since coming in January. But I don't know. It's an interesting one. There are a few names out there, but I mean, we'll go back to the game previous fixture in December. When Knockaert came off the bench, and obviously he made an instant impact, made it 1-1. But I mean, whether he'll start this time, because I think he came off the bench in a previous game.
That was a strange goal, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
I was at that game. That was the only. Yes, it's only a Carrow Road game this season I've been to, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a weird goal, but a good performance from us in the end. We did look a lot better than them, so I'm hoping it is similar this time round. So Jack and James? Have we done it now? Are we just counting down the days, or is there now still hard work to do? Because we saw it in 2018-19. Do we still need to think we need to be winning a few more games, or is the champagne on ice?
It's one of those games where Farke has said it enough. For me, we're not up until we're up. Personally, you can't get ahead of yourself. We've still got 10 games to go. Sure, we've got we've got a nice, comfortable position of 10 points. But first of all, I mean, I believe we've got 2 games to go, and then we've got an international break. So our form after that international break can, change massively. So we could beat Forest tomorrow out on Wednesday, and then I can't remember who we've got at the weekend, but we could beat them as well. And after the international break, obviously depending on what scores elsewhere, the highest maximum we could still be 10 points clear after going into the international break, but our form could massively dip. And sure, after the international break, we'll have 8 games to go, I think. but like I say, you just really can't get the champagne up until the second that you know, or that it's mathematically impossible to not go into the or drop out the top two.
Yeah.
So,
And as you said, we touched on international breaks coming up. It looks like so Aarons and Skip will be going on England under-21s duty. Hopefully that all goes well and injury free. Onel Hernandez is going. Well, we don't. I believe he's now going to finally be able to play for Cuba. That's what it's looking like, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that will be really good news for him. It is just that it's just worry of international breaks. I just hope everyone can come back and finish the season stress free. But we will see. Jack, what are you thinking? Are we seeing a double header? This is Norwich. If
we beat Nottingham Forest, then yeah, there will be a double header definitely. I mean, I've got some good ideas for the Sheffield Wednesday game, and it'd be so typical if we lose the game. Hopefully we don't, but it'd be typical if we lose the game because otherwise that would ruin the idea. Because I've not got much time to get it out. Because if I had to get the video up, I'd have to get up tomorrow, obviously, or Tuesday, whenever anyone's watching. But
that would be so typical if Norwich lost and weren't thinking about Jack's video. I mean,
even if we draw the game and it's like a mere game, I'll still probably do it because I've got good ideas.
You've got the idea.
Yeah, the notes pad on my iPhone's got a whole heap of ideas, and any specific meme I find goes straight in there. But then again, the majority of my ideas are stuff that when we concede a goal. So, yeah. I need more ideas when things go very well. So.
And we've already touched on just if we just wrap up sort of a Forest preparation. We've touched. Is it that we go with Dowell or who we start? I think we're probably in a agreement here. Who are we starting in that number 10 position? I'm going to start off and say that we stick with Lucas Rupp. Jack, what are you going to say?
Obviously, being in the LRAS, group, you've got to try and remain biased, but at the same time, taking my bias cap off and being neutral, I reckon, as much as I like Roop, I think we need to give Dowell a go in the middle. Roop had a good game in the middle against Luton, but it wasn't particularly the best against Sheffield Wednesday. But talking about Dowell, I'd like to see him have a go. Okay,
and James, who are we starting?
I've got to say Dowell as well, to be honest.
Dowell, so yeah, he comes in with his doubts, but he's going with Dowell over Rupp. Interesting, very interesting. But I'm happy obviously with either. Boys, I think that is okay for today. I think we're just going to try and this was just a quick sort of wrap up of the Sheffield Wednesday game, preview for the Forest game. I'm sure if anything interesting happens, we'll do a Forest game sort of reaction. And I think if you look on my channel recently, you'll find a bit of a discussion with Rob Ozini, who came on. He was obviously supposed to be on here today, but he couldn't make it. And I'm sure he would have added lots of great discussion and great chat like he always does. But we will see him on here on my channel a lot more soon. TotallyTettey has his socials, obviously the meme extraordinaire. His links are below. James has his Twitch stuff. I've been posted by Callum, and boys, do you have anything else you want to say?
On the City.
On the Ball City, I will echo that.
Before we finish, I've got to say the Forest Norwich game is one of the games picked for Super 6 as well. So.
Oh no.
I know it is, but
that's 0 points then, anyways.
Of course.
And on that note, on the Ball City. See you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.
See you guys.